is quite possibly one of the most underrated characters in Warrior Cats, alongside the fact that she is one of the few she-cats, or just cats in general really, that dedicates most of her time to the nursery. She also gave up so much just to keep her kits. She gave up her mate to live in the clans, and I feel like a lot of people forget that. I don't think if you asked anyone who their favorite character was, no one's gonna say Smokey. Not a single solitary soul is gonna say Smokey. I'm sure most people don't even remember Smokey. But Smokey is Daisy's mate, or at the very least the father of her kits. I assume they're mates considering warrior cats. And after Daisy's joins ThunderClan, after the one Hazelpaw, was it Hazelpaw interaction with Smokey? Smokey is just kind of never mentioned again until a Starless Clan when he helps out Frostpaw. So he's a pretty forgotten character, although I am impressed that the writing team remembered his existence. Also, Daisy is called Smokey's mate, which isn't allowed, and I'm assuming that's a typo. I think he meant to say former mate, because, yeah, that's a cat outside the clan. That is literally against the warrior code. If they meant to say that, then Daisy's just actively breaking the warrior code, and I am all here for that. If that wasn't a typo, and they just intentionally made it so Daisy was just ruining the warrior code and no one cared, that is perfection. But we're gonna assume that it's not canon that they're still together, and because that just makes more sense. But, so Daisy literally had to sacrifice her entire life to keep her kits safe, which meant sacrificing Smokey. Now, Smokey isn't a very, developed character. He's a kind dude who doesn't like people. And that is basically the best way to describe it. It's not so much he doesn't like people, but he has the one line of oh, I don't think I could live in a clan, or, because there's, too many cats in it and stuff. And, I read that as, yeah, he doesn't like many people. He's an introvert. I'm sorry, I read way too into characters' dialogue. It's a bad habit, really. And Smokey is just forgotten, truly. He really deserves a lot more development than he was given. His entire existence is to be the father of Daisy's kits. He doesn't have much of a personality for himself. Also, is it Fliss? That's her name? But the two kits that live in the barn with him, Fliss's kits, that means he moved on and got a new mate. Again, we're operating off the fact that him calling Daisy his mate was a typo, which it probably is, because he has kits with Fliss, and him also having Daisy as his mate is a big no-no in Warrior Cats rules. Kind of, not really. They did it with I forget who, but it was in Yellowfang's secret. But the new team especially probably wouldn't do that shit. I know we like to shit on the new team, but sometimes it is warranted. Either way, Daisy never moves on. She never gets another mate. She never really gets too many friends. We can assume that Ferncloud was her bestie all we want, which, I mean, she probably was. They spent every moment with each other watching over the kits. But Ferncloud is gone, so Daisy's just kind of alone. Sure, she still visits Smokey, but they can't be mates because of the warrior code, and most of her kits are dead. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure all 5 of her children are dead. Oh, and speaking of moving on, yes, Daisy did go with Spiderleg. They didn't work out, so before you say it, I do remember Spiderleg, but that was more like a fling. They're not ever really called mates, I don't think. It's just mentioned that Spiderleg fathered her children, and then never paid attention to his children. Also, Spiderleg is such a deadbeat, bro. He literally is oh, I don't need to go watch over my kids, Daisy, that's your job. And when I read that line, I have never wanted to punch a character. That's a lie. I've always wanted to punch a lot of characters, but I've never wanted to punch a non-villain character so much in my life. Oh my god, Spiderleg is the worst. Then again, Spiderleg kind of takes after his own father in terms of not paying attention to children. Dust pelt. But other than that, Daisy doesn't move on from Smokey. She tries to, it doesn't work, and the poor fling she had was terrible, and with Spiderleg. Poor Daisy. People really do not bring enough attention to how many cats have had to watch their kits die. Well, moving on, I'd like to end off this video by just talking a little about Daisy in general. So many people think Daisy is useless and lazy because she spends all her time in the nursery. And those people, I know for a fact that they have never worked with children a day in their lives. I have not either. But even I know, yeah, children are difficult, man. Kids, they're difficult, especially young children, which, kids leave the nursery at 6 moons, which I've done the calculations before. If we're operating off the fact that 12 moons is 18 human years. That's like a bunch of 9-year-olds at the oldest in the nursery, which, yeah, you can see that would be very difficult to deal with. And, okay, even, like, I feel like even children, like, if you look around your classrooms and just see, y'all know that annoying classmate? Yeah, those are the kind of people Daisy has to deal with. So if you can just think, hey, you know that annoying classmate no one likes? Those are the kind of people Daisy deals with on a daily basis. So think about that before you start calling her useless. And even if you have already graduated and have a job, that annoying coworker, or even thinking back that annoying kid, like, come on. Daisy does enough. She has earned her place in ThunderClan, and anyone that wants to disrespect child care workers is just not a good person.